Hello, this is Amar Wolf with my vlog on Midwest FurFest 2022. It was a wild convention. A lot of things happened. If you follow even half the stuff in social media, you realize it was one hell of a convention. Record crowd, a lot of great acts, some complaints, some protesters, 13 ambulances, a lot. There's a lot to go through, and I might as well start with the beginning. Registration, like we all did. As far as registration goes, it really wasn't bad this year. The longest I've heard anybody waiting was 4 hours. And this is mind you going through both the vax and registration lines. In previous years, without the vax line included, people waited over 7 hours in waiting. I even heard one time in the past, somebody doing it 9. So Midwest Fur Fest, if you complain or not, they did a fantastic job. Way to go. Um, Me being a sponsor, I went to the Vax line in about a little over half an hour, and then of course, registration when your sponsor is dead on easy. I was fifth in line when I got my stuff. Well, I mean, to start out with the lanyard. Sponsors and super sponsors got theirs. Everybody else has got a clip. Uh, it happens, and well, anyway, being a sponsor, you also get extra stuff, which is a wristband and a bottle of hand sanitizer. And you get a raccoon pen and a special coin with the superhero emblem in the back, flying raccoons. Possible, who knows? Then you also got another, well, that's from different something else. Anyway, well, I got my badge right over here. I went that sponsored revenue. Anyway, also you got this annual. They always give you a card with for general information, which I thought the artwork was pretty neat. And by the way, the general artwork they had at the convention was fantastic. Everybody took ton of photographs of it, and I can't even think of a time where people have taken so much photos of just general con signage. It's incredible. Of course, I got to admit their accessibility thing where they had the dog, in sort of a wheelchair for its back legs was fantastic. I took a photo of it. I loved it. Of course, now you get the ones with the accessibility badges like they did last year. I had mine. Registration. Sorry, I have notes here. Too much to talk about. Uh, I have to give it to the volunteers. They always say, cons really um, need the volunteers. I volunteered. My little hours turned in over a little over 2 hours. I was person who was at the in front of the art show telling people no cameras, no water bottles, and bags had to be checked at the check-in. It was nice. Of course, when I got back, I got some bonus stuff, including, surprising enough, this. So, what does a white um, gopher lanyard get you? Well, it gives you access to the staff lounge. I know I heard some say about they should have this consuite back. It's kind of like that, but it's a little different. I really shouldn't talk about it because they don't want people talking about the staff lounge. But it is good. I did have a meal there Friday night because I was hungry and I didn't know what else to eat. It was nice. Well, speaking of sponsors and everybody else, the opening of Dealer's Den, which was required a special. Well, put it this way, if you ever been to Midwest Fur Fest, they have this one main entrance. It's a glass entrance where you can get through that way, and volunteers check the badges. Well, this year, because of a bottleneck where the elevator's at, which is in front of this entrance, they had a little problem with that because it was a bottleneck. They actually send people down the escalator to the main level of the convention center, back up the other escalator. Then you went down a way to a side entrance and you went in that way. Sponsors got kind of preferential way of getting in there, but and also like a little problem they had with Artist Alley, which was fantastic this year. I got a commission ordered, and I hope to show it to you either in YouTube short or something. I haven't quite figured that out yet because I think it's going to be at least a month or two before I get it, maybe longer, but who knows? Artist Alley was great, but the crowds there was a real problem. There was a couple times uh, you had to wait to get an Artist Alley or even the dealers there because there was just plain too many people. I heard the mention of the fire marshal a couple times, and nobody wanted to get the fire marshal involved. So then we have the problem with the Sky Bridge. I mean, I know people call it the corridor of death, and I kind of joke calling it the corridor, and really it's just it's Sky Bridge. But we've had it was crowded. And I tell people, if you don't like the crowds, take the street. It's not that bad. The weather wasn't that horrible. Still in the 40s, but it wasn't bad. But I mean, there were people passing out in there, complaints they couldn't find water. I think personally that's due to the crowd. The water stations were fairly easy to find if you could actually see them, but there's just too many people there. I mean, I knew where some were at, but if I couldn't see them and I knew where they were, you'd know it was crowded. Uh, and there was 13 ambulances. Some for the usual problems, we have a convention, medical issues, accidents, but a bulk of it was for people passing out. So, I mean, I'm telling you something. I'm a big believer in getting enough water to drink and do not get overheated. I think they're going to have to change the ventilation system in the Sky Bridge. I mean, I'm not the only one who said this, but I think they're really going to have to. Uh, I mean, the crowds did change things a bit on Midwest Fur Fest because if you look at, I'm putting on videos you see on YouTube. You always see people meeting in or getting fursuit hugs in the hotel. That was kind of impossible this year. It was very crowded. You had to pretty much almost push your way through the crowds just to get through the lobby of the hotel. I mean, there was ways to get around it, but it was just awkward. If you notice on social media, a lot of people are meeting in the convention center or just outside. That was the only place that really wasn't that crowded. So, I mean, I really don't have a lot of pictures of fursuiters because it was crowded. Oh God, was it ever crowded? The panels and events, that I went to the Furry Variety Show, which was great as usual. I think I keep saying this every year, probably the best one they ever did. And every year's the same. They just get better and better. A special shout out to, I believe it's Bengal Bagel Rabbit. Incredible performer. Incredible. They had their own show, plus they prepared. Were in the Free Variety Show. Absolutely fantastic. So was the acts, the DJs, everybody. One panel I went to, and I really want to mention this, is the 3DS panel. We had a meet. Unfortunately, it was a mistake in the schedule. They had listed two meets, and there really was only one. And the first took place right during the opening ceremony, so I really didn't see it. So I apologize for that. But it was pretty neat. I had 54 hits. My general rule is like somewhere between 25 to about a little over 30. And that's remarkable. I hope it's the same next year. I hope more people bring their 3DSs. Uh, but I always remind people because I made the same mistake multiple times. You better check. There's certain things, certain little mini games you got to check out. And if you don't check them out when you go through the meet you had, you could lose all that information. Just saying. Um, AC Stewart. The guy who does the Wu comic. I got this book earlier in the year. I didn't buy it down there, but I've told AC Stewart I love his comic. I love his wolves, and look what he did for me. I love it. It is now in my prize collection. I love this. Well, getting over to, of course, I got assigned in the dealer's area. Hmm. This this is the stack of books I bought. I mean, I buy books for review for my website, but when people ask me, why do you pick the way you do? I go by my own gut feeling, what I like, stuff I've heard about, stuff I haven't heard about, stuff that looks interesting to me. This one I've seen on social media quite a bit. And I'm telling you something, it's worth the hype. The artwork is incredible. I mean, really. The artist, Jared Hudson, was selling artwork from the story here. And I'm telling you something, if I didn't have a few cash issues, I would have bought a lot of it. I just want to show you a random page in here. Look at that. This is like a high expensive graphic novel. This wasn't even that expensive. 25 bucks. And Winter Without Him, another good one. Scars. But here's the thing: the guy who created this thing, what is it called? Night Eyes Dayspring. He questioned why I bought this because I liked the cover, and I will read this and I will review it. The Hooch parody ones are always kind of like a. I kind of leave these by the wayside, but I really enjoy them. And I just happen to like Art Mud. If you follow Art Mud on Twitter, I recommend it. Guy does fantastic. He's been around for like forever. He got to start way before they did Fur Nation magazine, way back in the '90s. So, no, that would be early 2000s, but still, love his work. Then this came out recently. I know this is more of an adult comic, but something a little different. And I have seen Black Sad mentioned multiple times, and even a couple of my readers have said, you got to start reading it. So I figured I picked it up. Hardcover edition. It looks good. It looks really good. Uh, Sponsor brunch was a coupon event for me. Was great as usual. It was pretty much all you can eat. I didn't feel like eating much, but I did have what I wanted. I had an omelet and some other things, and it was really good stuff. Um, Before I get on a lot of things, like I said, you wander around. You either find stuff or you go to the dealer's there and you pick up a whole bunch of stickers. I always do because I mean, I couldn't pass that one up. I really couldn't. These are all these created by independent artists, and I'm telling you something. You know, I mean, some of these are actually free. Just go wander around the con, you see these things on the ground, you say, "Oh, I'm picking them up," and you get some really nice ones. This one, and I love this one. One thing I want to talk about is the trading cards. If you've seen anything from Midwest FurFest, you know there were 12 trading cards. I happen to have 10. What two I missed, I have no idea, but I did get both from the volunteer. You have to volunteer to get the two cards. So I don't know if I missed something or whatever. Maybe it's from the like the art show or something. But I mean, although Midwest Fur Fest has a lot of the details on their website with photos and everything, these are a great thing to have. A very unique souvenir, I may add. Very unique souvenir, like collecting something from the about the sponsor, and I got this after making a donation, and you know, I'm for that. Oh, one last thing, heard about the closing ceremony is this. Oh, sorry about that. That I got that for being a sponsor, for being volunteering there, and I enjoy it. I want to get the flying one. You have to do at least 5 hours for that. Closing ceremony. It's like any closing ceremony. It's well, let's be honest with you. They go by a lot of numbers, like special drinks. They do 700 of, but this is one little factoid I want to get into. The T-shirt. For the first time ever in Midwest FurFest history, they completely sold out of the t-shirts, all sizes. I've never heard this happening before. They sold completely out of the t-shirt. And they said anybody who wanted one, they had to order it and then probably getting it in a couple of weeks, maybe in time for Christmas. But still, it is like I've never heard them selling out. And of course, like usual, when a charity who's not familiar with Mentor Fur Fest gets over $106,000, they start crying. And it was absolutely wonderful. And I always like it's a great con. I would go every year. I've been going since 2013. I have the badges to prove it and a lot of con books back there where they still issue them. And by the way, they didn't have a con book this year. Although the map situation wasn't as bad, they definitely had better signage this year. But I mean, there's a couple things I want to do like the swap meet. The problem is it was just too crowded. It was just really too crowded. That's the problem we've had with the convention this year. It was just crowded. Of course, if you ever been to that same general two buildings during an anime convention, it's just as crowded because they generally get around 15,000, even though both Anime Central and Anime Midwest don't exactly talk about their numbers. They still said they get about 15,000, and we came pretty close to that. Two last things before I wrap up. The protesters, which you've probably read about, the pathetic ones, I think I happen to agree with security. I think they're just there for trying to get publicity. So I'm really not going to go into a lot of detail about them, but uh, there were a couple. There's like some great videos that talk about the. I think it's Lumen City did a short video on what happened, and it's ridiculous. I mean, these people being there is ridiculous. Two people versus 13,641. Exactly. The other thing was, and I saw a couple YouTubers mention this, that there wasn't really much security there. There is security at MFF like you would not believe. I have personally know for a fact we've had every government law enforcement agency you can even think of is in and around this place all the time, plus the local cops, plus state, plus county, plus everybody, even the FBI is there. All undercover, mostly undercover, some in fursuits. There's some FBI agents I know who are fursuiters. I've heard this secondhand, so I'm not really 100% true. I don't know how true it is. Wink, wink, but anyway, the other thing I want to mention is something that my friend took a photo of, and that was the SWAT truck. Yes, there was a SWAT truck parked there from literally Saturday and Sunday, the whole weekend. And plus, I even heard there were, well, so we say officers on standby just in case, because MFF brings a lot of money into the community, and nobody wants this blown. I mean, people who go there, the dealers, and MFF itself, who puts on a great show every year. I mean, they do a fantastic job, and I'll go again next year. Well, let's see if I hit a second con next year. I might. I don't know if I am or not, but given my current situation, but we'll see how things go. And I might do another vlog then. Meanwhile, you'll have a great day, and this could be on a few different different channels. We'll see how it turns out. Anyway, you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.